Throughout my time on the DonutSMP, I've seen thousands of players get their bases raided, griefed, and wiped off the map. So I've come up with 10 of the best ways to hide your base. But make sure you stay till the end since the last method is so secret that almost nobody knows about it. Starting off with the first method, which is making your base in the ocean. When people RTP, they can only RTP on land, so many players will never notice a base that is in an ocean. However, you do have to find a spot with no kelp, since fully grown kelp tells base hunters that a player has been in the area. I've seen many people's bases get found just because of the kelp that was on the surface, so try to avoid it. If you're struggling to find an ocean without kelp, almost all of them have kelp in it except for warm oceans. This next method is removing all the pie chartable blocks from your base. Using the pie chart by pressing F3 and 1, people can see which block entities are nearby, even if they're underground. Some people can't remove the blocks because of their massive farms, but if you want a super secret stash of gear, you can use barrels since the pie chart doesn't detect them. A lot of people say that the pie chart doesn't work that well in DonutSMP since the blocks that are being detected by it would have to be close by, but if you want to be extra safe, you can use this method. This third method is talked about pretty often, but it is making your base under lava. A lot of X-ray hackers can still see lava underground, so if you make your base below it, it'll be hidden from most cheaters. If you want to make your own lava pool, try to make it look realistic so it doesn't raise suspicion. But if you have a really big base, then this method probably wouldn't work since the lava pool would be too massive and easily catch attention to those dirty cheaters. Okay, so this next method is making your base as small as possible. When your base is really big, it increases the chance for people to find it by mining or looking with X-ray. It might be hard if you have really big farms, but try to make it as small as you can. For example, if you want a spawner base, you can make it a 2x1 hole instead of having an entire mined out area. Last season on DonutSMP, spawners were the main money making method, so everyone had super small bases that never got raided. It doesn't really matter that much since it only decreases the chance of someone finding it by a little bit, but anything can help. This fifth method is really good for newer players since a lot of them don't know how the RTP command works. When you RTP, you should never build right where you teleported at. You should go like 500 or 1000 blocks out or even more to make your base. When you RTP, you're basically guaranteed to end up in a spot where many players have been before. That's why you have to pick a spot where there's no evidence of someone being there. Players are way more likely to randomly find your base if you make it on your RTP spot, rather than making it 1000 blocks out from it. But when you do decide to dig down to make your base, make sure to use this next method, which is making sure you place back every block. When you're digging down, you have to use a silk touch pickaxe since you don't want cobblestone or any other blocks. Cheaters can use their hacks to find cobblestone or cobbled deep slate to see where players have been active. This usually tells them where bases are, so don't place unnatural blocks on your way down. Method number 7 is very important, which is basically to never teleport anyone to your base, even if you have a teammate. It's best to go solo instead of having a teammate, since they could betray you at any time and take everything you have. Most new players always look for a teammate, but they don't even know the person they're teaming with. I've seen so many people talk about how they were betrayed and how they lost everything, so I feel like making money by yourself is the best option. Plus, you can get all the money for yourself instead of having to split it, which can be a problem when your team consists of a lot of people. I made that mistake before and I barely got any money. Method number 8 basically builds off of method 7 since this one is also important if you want your base to be completely unknown to the entire server. If you feel like teleporting a streamer to your really good base just for money, then you shouldn't, unless you're really broke. Even if the streamer is protecting your base from being leaked with a texture pack that prevents block rotation, there still may be other things being leaked that you don't know about. The ores on the wall can leak coordinates as well as bedrock being exposed. By the way, make sure to never make your base right on the bedrock layers. Please make it above it. So many people do this in front of streamers, which tends to get their base found. And who knows what other hidden exploits some people might have just to find your base. Not to mention some untrusted streamers might write down the coordinates. However, I don't think there's many, but make sure if you do want a streamer to look at your base, you only TP the trusted streamers. Like me, I'm live mostly every day. Method 9 could be really useful to you if you don't care about your ping. On DonutSMP, there are certain regions you can RTP to that fits to where you are in the world. For me, I'm NA East, so I get better ping if I RTP to the NA East region. However, NA East and Europe are the most populated regions on the DonutSMP, with both regions having thousands of players. So if you make your base in those regions, your base could be found a lot faster than if you just make your base in a less populated region. I feel like Oceania or Asia are the best regions to make your base in, since they are the least populated regions, with them only having a few hundred players. Your ping might be really bad though, but it's worth it for a more hidden base. Okay, so method 10 might be a little crazy to think about, since many people probably haven't tested this before, but hear me out. I think that if you make your base at really low coordinates instead of high coordinates, your base might not be found as quickly. You know how when you RTP to a random spot in the world, it's usually at a set of high coordinates? Well, most base hunters probably only look around the spots where they've RTP'd themselves. So I feel like if you make your base at a set of low coordinates, it might actually work. It might be really risky to make your base there, so don't take my word for it because I've never really tested it myself. but if anyone wants to try and test this for themselves, it might have a lot of potential to be a good way to hide your base. So that's basically all the methods that I've come up with to hide your base. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe since I'm going to be posting a lot more.